Again, I want to thank all of those listening who have partnered with us as we come down to the end of our fiscal year, as I've said all week. Just reminding you that we are here broadcasting on about 400 stations across the nation, Monday through Friday, and even on Saturday, because of partners like you. We receive no government money, none whatsoever. We are supported 100% by folks like you who care about America, care about faith, family, and freedom. And so we have some generous donors that have put together $1 million challenge gift. And the effect is your contribution is doubled. So if you'd like to make a contribution and stand with us today, I've got team members standing by to take your call, 800-225-4008. Or, as always, you can go to TonyPerkins.com and make a donation online. Again, that number, 800-225-4008. All right, every move that is made by this administration is spun, twisted, made into a conspiracy. And over the weekend, Geoffrey Berman, who was the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District, resigned. Now, there was some question whether he resigned, whether he was fired, some claiming that he was fired by William Barr to protect associates of President Trump. But it appears, the evidence now is emerging, that the real reason is because he refused to sign a letter to Mayor de Blasio protesting the mistreatment of those engaging in the exercise of religious freedom. That and other topics coming up today in the House Judiciary Committee. Joining me now with more is a member of the committee and the chairman of the Republican Study Committee, Congressman Mike Johnson of Louisiana. Mike, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Hey, Tony, it's always a pleasure to be with you, my friend.
Every move that is made by this administration is spun, is taken out of context. A conspiracy is placed behind it. But as the oversight hearing was held today, looking into the issue of political interference by the Department of Justice into the operations of staff attorneys, there's a lot of smoke, but I don't see any fire.
There isn't any fire, Tony, and I used my time in the hearing this morning. It's still going on. I've stepped out to speak with you to point out that the whole hearing is a farce. You know, with all of the pressing issues facing the country right now, with the tearing down of monuments, the assault on our history, and unrest in the streets, and everything else, all that is within the jurisdiction of the House Judiciary Committee, and yet we are wasting time now going after the Department of Justice. I mean, this is just another page in the playbook, the tired, old, worn-out playbook of the Democrats here, to do exactly what you said. They are in an all-out assault on President Trump, on his Attorney General Barr and the Department of Justice, and they're accusing Attorney General Barr of exactly what the Obama administration, Eric Holder and company, did. Barr is not politicizing the DOJ. He's trying to clean up the messes that the other side made. And yet they're in the majority in the House. They have the majority in this committee, and Chairman Nadler and company are doing what they do best, and that is try to obscure the facts and go after Trump, because it's the only page they have in that playbook.
I think that's extremely important that people understand that what happens when you come and you clean up, you have a lot of career attorneys that work in the Department of Justice that have been there, not just the last 8 years, but even before that were, left of center. And they had a political agenda, as we saw with Peter Strzok and others, all the evidence that's come out about them. It's clear that there was a political agenda by some in the Department of Justice. So when you go in to clean it up, it's going to create conflict, quite frankly. And, of course, the media is all too eager to take the side of those who are actually being cleaned up and pushed out.
I think that's very well said. And the irony and the outrage of the day, the latest, is that one of the witnesses, one of these supposed, they paint these witnesses out to be, patriots who are doing their civic duty. These are career DOJ lawyers who are coming forward now to blow the whistle. One of the guys they brought in, of the three witnesses the Democrats produced today, one of them has a record of having requested to leave the DOJ to serve on the impeachment inquest against Trump. I mean, there's not even an appearance of lack of bias. I mean, it's just very clear what's going on here, and the American people can see it. And I think a growing number of them are very, very frustrated by all of this.
Congressman Johnson, let me ask you specifically about this case with Geoffrey Berman, who served as the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Back and forth over the weekend. First, he said he resigned, then it was said he was fired. Bottom line, there were those saying that he was pushed out because the Attorney General was trying to protect President Trump's friends like Rudy Giuliani. But what happened the night before, there was a letter from the Attorney General that Berman was asked to sign. Eric Dryban, who is a frequent guest on this program, who is Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, also asked to sign the letter to the mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, criticizing the mayor for placing major restrictions on religious gatherings while at the same time encouraging these protests in the streets. And Berman refused to sign the letter, and as a result, according to reports in The Hill and others, that this was the straw that broke the camel's back for William Barr, the Attorney General. Does he not have the right to have attorneys working for him that will actually follow the directions that he gives?
There's no question about that. And if you look at the applicable law, actually there's federal statute right on point, 28 U.S.C. Section 541. It's very clear that Attorney General Barr acted appropriately in carrying out Berman's removal. Now, the president under that statute has the power clearly to appoint and to remove U.S. attorneys. If he appoints his attorney general with that authority to do so, then that's perfectly appropriate. In this case, that may very well have been the reason. It may have been insubordination. They're trying to do Berman a favor by not, by allowing him to resign amicably. And there was a conversation reportedly the Attorney General had with Berman. They had agreed that he would step aside so the president could appoint someone who's already Senate confirmed, by the way, as U.S. Attorney. That's SEC Chairman Jay Clayton, who's eminently qualified for the position. But the Trump administration even reportedly offered Berman a different position in the administration. There's a vacant position for Assistant AG for the criminal division. I mean, they were going to move him over and allow him a soft landing, and yet, I think he got stiff-necked about it, and it turned into a bit of a mess. But look, there's no question at all. It's very clear under the law. The president and the attorney general acted appropriately. They had every right to do that, and it is not out of step with what previous attorney generals have done.
I would just say also that it's in keeping with this administration. I'm not surprised by this at all because in my conversations with Attorney General Barr and in his actions repeatedly, he has made, as the president has put forth the direction, he has made religious freedom, domestic religious freedom, a top priority of their administration. And so at every turn, they're addressing this inappropriate restrictions being placed on people of faith.
No question about it. And we applaud President Trump for not just using the protection of religious liberty as a platform or campaign talking point as others have done in the past. He is fiercely committed to it. And Tony, he's spoken to you about it. He's spoken to me many times about how important that is to him, how essential he understands that is to all of us as Americans. And the fact that they would be consistent in all their actions in doing that is a great encouragement to people of faith all around this country, of every faith, to know that our first liberty will remain intact so long as this president is at the helm.
You're listening to Washington Watch. I'm your host, Tony Perkins. Congressman Mike Johnson, I almost stumbled on my own name there. Congressman Mike Johnson of Louisiana, my guest. He's the chairman of the Republican Study Committee, also a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Just a couple more moments left here with you, Mike, and I appreciate you stepping out of the committee to join us. Big news this morning with the case against General Flynn being dropped, the criminal case, those charges being dropped. How significant is that?
It was a bombshell, and it was so ironic and even poetic, Tony, that it came out this morning, just a couple of hours before our Judiciary Committee hearing began on the supposed abuses in the Department of Justice and all of this. Look, the appeals court for the District of Columbia handed down a really solid opinion. It's very strongly worded. I mean, in a way that has surprised some folks. But they have upheld basically the dropping of charges against General Flynn. And they have some really strong language in here. They point out that the district court judge that was trying to resist this dropping of the charges has no power. He can't deny a prosecutor's motion to dismiss charges based on his disagreement with the prosecution's exercise of the charging authority. That's a quote. It's in this Court of Appeals opinion that is quoting the U.S. Supreme Court. In other words, what they're saying is this was so irregular and so out of bounds for a district court judge to misunderstand his role and try to impose these extra rules and restrictions on Flynn. The DOJ decided that in light of all the information that had come out since this case started, with the abuses in the FBI, the setup that they had of General Flynn, an American hero, that the ongoing prosecution was totally inappropriate. The charges should be dropped, and now the appeals court has agreed that was exactly what should have happened.
This, once again, underscores, unfortunately, but it underscores the role of the judges, the increasingly important role, or influential role, I should say, that judges play in our society. I mean, they've always been important that they be men and women of integrity, adhering to the law and the Constitution. But you see, when those that are given to the political winds, they can corrupt justice. But fortunately, the appellate court's seeing the right way to go.
Absolutely. We have to have judges on these federal courts who understand and adhere to the rule of law, who apply the Constitution as unbiased umpires, as is often said. And there's too few of those. We have a lot of activist judges. I think the district judge in this case is one of them. I think his actions show it. And now you have a couple of judges on the appellate court agreeing that he was just far out of bounds. And they point out on the first couple of pages of this opinion that in light of the newly discovered evidence of misconduct by the FBI, this prosecution can no longer go forward. They can't continue to go after General Flynn. He was set up. Everybody knows it now. And to administer justice here, you've got to move on.
Very good. Congressman Mike Johnson, we've got to move on as well. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate you.